God, I need to cut your hair so bad.
I'm doing it just to piss you off.
You
No, I'm not.
I know you're not. And I feel bad when I tell people that are in my life outside of the salon. I'm like, you need to get your hair cut.
Yeah, but you like to cut hair.
I enjoy my people that I love the most looking.
What if I wanted to grow it out?
We need to talk about that. I don't think so. I do not think so.
Okay, you and Jenny are gonna fight then.
Well, okay. Well,
You said of that tone, please.
I am concerned that it would start an argument.
No.
Yes.
You would be respectful.
I would be respectful, and I'm afraid that what I would say might hurt somebody's feelings, and if it does hurt anybody's feelings, that it might hurt your feelings.
Does it make me look like a chick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
I would say when your face starts changing externally and internally after you've been on T for a year plus, then I would say let's talk about growing it out.
Okay.
Because
I don't want to do something I don't want to grow it out very long. Like that's never been a vision of mine.
Well, that's fine. It's just like at this time right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's not upsetting your gender dysmorphia, then I mean, like, power to you.
I just really haven't been like
it's not
getting
on top
my
of your
hair cut.
list.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. It doesn't upset me in any sort of way. I'm just like
You're just concerned about how I'm perceived.
Yeah, because you're starting to look like when I first met you.
Like a lesbian. Like a lesbian.
Oh my god, that was that was so good.
But I mean, that's what.
And that's the tea, everybody.
That's the tea. I had something really validating happen at work, by the way.
I have to tell you about work. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just it's a quickie. It's a quick story.
Oh, you can take as long as you need.
How people perceive me, it reminded me of what happened, something that happened. So there was a group of people who I know came from the same cult or cult adjacent.
Oh, okay.
Of the religious sect that my family was from, United Pentecostal Church. For those of you who may not be familiar with that, it's like apostolic. They kind of look Amish, but they're not. They kind of look Mennonite, but they're not. But I can spot somebody a mile away because it's ingrained in my brain, right?
Yeah.
So they come into the store. I was ringing them out, and I was worried that they were gonna clock me as a girl, like a chick, but they didn't.
Oh,
and the guy, like the father of the family, he goes, "Thanks, bud. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it." And I was like,
"It's Pride Month. Do you understand how important that was to me? Thank you so much."
Yes, but also it was even more validating because it was someone from a religious sect that my family was from.
Right.
And so when he said that, I was just like,
but do you think that he recognized you in any sort of way? Or
no.
do you okay.
He was from out of town.
Okay.
He didn't live in Fort Wayne, but he was from Michigan, which is even stranger because that's where my family's from.
Okay, good. So is it like just extra affirming?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like basically like,
okay.
Like
if
I made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
if you can get them to see you for who you are, then you've made it.
Yep.
Toe tap, man.
Toe tap.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride, y'all.
Okay, so on Wednesday I went to the gym, and then immediately after that went across the street to Lars's coffee shop to go get some water. And
the best water.
And oh my god, so I got a 30-ounce triple filtered, chilled with cubed ice water. And one of his kids were like, oh, "You guys are related?" And knowing that there was another patron inside the cafe, I was not going to say what I wanted to say, which was obviously, I mean, we're both annoying as fuck. Do you know Melanie Martinez?
Isn't that a designer?
No, that is a singer. Anyway, so Melanie Martinez.
I'm gonna Google it.
She's amazing. I stumbled upon her, like the guy whose name was Nicholas that I dated before current Nicholas. He introduced me to her, and Nicholas Nicholas, now Nicholas, my forever Nicholas. We met shortly after that. But anyway, she has this song on there called she has a song called Sippy Cup on her first album, her first era, which is Crybaby, which is all about like her being a child and like all of her struggles as a child and all of her insecurities and stuff. And then she has like her second era, which is K through 12, was all of her high school. And then now she's doing her Portals era, which is like this new creature that she has created for herself. And it's like a fairy. And like all three eras are telling a story. So she has like killed off Crybaby and she's like, this is who I am now.
Wow.
Anyway, so she has on her first album, Crybaby, she has a song called Sippy Cup. And my favorite part about the size of that cup that I got from Lars's coffee shop for water was because shortly after that, I had to go drive down to Woodburn, which is outside of Fort Wayne, to go get medication for Dozer because his vet is outside of outside of the city, because outside of the city vets are cheaper. Medication is not, but that is where his vet is anyway. So the lyrics to Melanie Martinez's Sippy Cup is, kids are still depressed when you dress them up, and syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup. And so I used that cup. I have gotten very comfortable with peeing while I drive. And that 30-ounce cup is the best cup to piss in while you're driving. And so I was like thinking to myself, and I was like, and urine is still urine in a pissy cup.
You pee in a cup?
While I'm driving? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, just sometimes you gotta go.
Okay.
You know?
I'm just surprised.
I'm not gonna stop at some sketch gas station out in the country.
In Woodburn.
In Woodburn.
Yeah,
which, like, no offense to anybody who is out in Woodburn, because like I grew up out there in that area. But
I don't blame you.
But I mean, look at me.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You know, a little uncomfortable. Even though the past few times that I have, like, they're nice, but still, like, I would turn heads. I turn heads in a tiny town.
Yeah.
So happy Pride.
Happy
Pride. Oh, the way we said that at the same time, that sounded so good. I can't. Good. Yeah, good. I can't wait to hear that. Oh, hey, future Jaron, that was cool, right? We were like harmonizing there for a second. So the reason why I wanted to record yesterday and get something on record was because I'm sure, again, we're recording on Thursday. When this comes out, we don't know what the news is going to be. But as of today, the submarine situation, okay, I was thinking about this yesterday. I have a theory, because these are billionaires, right? And they're going out into deep waters where people on TikTok are like, you would go out there knowing, like, but you are going to die. You are bolted into a submarine. It's being controlled by an off-brand Xbox or PlayStation controller.
Like an Xbox controller.
The man who put all of this together did not put any money aside for safety. This wasn't tested. He said safety wasn't a concern, or excuse me, safety wasn't like worth the money or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to be quoting this thing, but because I have been given a lot of information recently. But think about it. Obviously, these are not the richest people in the world, because like Bezos and
right, but they are billion. So there's a billionaire on board. Yeah,
it's never great to like wish or be celebratory of anybody's death.
Yeah, because karma's a thing.
Karma is a thing, and you know that is not what this world revolves around. We are supposed to revolve around love, but you know we're always eat the rich, and then the ocean was like, say less.
The killer whales are like,
delicious.
Well, they obviously couldn't snack, but they probably watched it go down with snacking on some other people.
Right. So my theory is that this was all ployed, and like they're actually alive and safe in like some bunker or whatever. Probably like, I mean, cash in the future is going to be worthless, which I want to talk about that too, because I think that, again, this is all just a distraction, because like, especially like the stuff with like the presidency and like everybody's just all more concerned about like Trump's situation and like Biden becoming president, when like there's like this Ukraine situation happening and there are like negotiations within different companies, specifically China and Russia, and
that happened recently, like what, a couple days ago.
And so that, and like I don't have anything against foreign nations by any means. And I know that we have like a lot of military stuff, stations sanctioned over in their area. But as of like recently, they've just started to break ground or bought the building, or they're starting to build now a sanction over here in Cuba, which is like a territory of
Us.
So, and you know, like the Pentagon sent a bunch of money over to Ukraine to help them with the war, and like that makes us look bad. But again, like, you know, I think these people do need some help.
Yeah.
So again, maybe this is all just a distraction and these people are actually fine. Or if it's not a distraction and like they are alive in some like undisclosed location, right? That has been portrayed in like movies and television before. So like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like that's actually happening right now, because again, like rich people are just going to save their asses. Like, why the fuck do people want to go to Mars? You know, like they're just going to destroy that planet too. They're just going to leave everybody behind.
NASA, please just shoot it out of the sky and call it an accident.
Yeah.
NASA, please. Sorry, that's karma too. Knock on wood. Three Hail Marys.
I think it's 13. I don't know. I wasn't Catholic.
Me neither.
Somebody let us know. Write to us. Let us know. Or if they did die, like, sorry, you had that coming. There was a video of this girl who was like, I finally just recently, I just found out that my roommate hasn't heard about any of this. I don't know what the situation is going on with the roommate. She had a laptop in her lap, and I'm assuming of her age. She's probably a student. She's again assuming here, right? I'm really pulling because like, how do you not know what's going on?
Right.
That would be amazing to be that far away from social media to like not know about
a couple
this.
people who I worked with just found out about it today.
Are you serious? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's like telling her roommate, she was like, this is a situation. 6 billionaires went down under sea to go. 5?
There's only 5 people in there.
A handful of billionaires.
Some peeps.
some billionaires spent $250,000 to go down. And she goes, you spent that kind of money to die?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's not even That's pocket change to them.
Oh, okay. So I saw a video today, and this girl said, I took the average American income that is not a part of the elite and making all of this kind of money. So she goes, I'm going to take $40,000 and factor that with somebody who brings in $1 billion. That $250,000 equals $10. I spent $10 on a pack of cigarettes today.
Puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
That is so scary. And so disgusting. But anyway, if they're dead, that is awfully unfortunate. The world needs less billionaires.
Some help. I think. See, I'm on a completely different, not completely different side than you are, but I think it did happen. But I think the media is just using it just to fuel distraction. I think I think it did happen. I think they are dead. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a distraction.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But
also
up until today, that was my theory. Was that they're fine. They're in undisclosed location.
Gotcha.
But again, like, they found parts of it today, right?
Yeah, they did. They found debris by I think 2,100 feet, something like that, but from the Titanic's bow. They got close.
Well,
unless they were headed back.
Well, I
don't know.
If you can bring me back 5 full skeletons, and proved DNA that those are not even skeletons. I mean, they're still.
They probably won't, because if it's imploded, it's like a pop can when you squeeze a pop can. That's what that is. So the air compressor failed, and it literally sucked it like.
Then until evidence is proven that these people are dead, they're alive to me.
Okay, that's fair. All right.
I mean, I want to believe everything, right? You shouldn't believe everything, but that's I go back and forth on that whole thing. It's like, so I we'll be told what we're told, and we're supposed to believe that and just believe that. But something inside of me is like, I don't know about that.
I go back and forth with the memes and the jokes that I've seen, because a part of me is these were humans, and and a human life was taken.
Exactly.
The other side of me is I can understand people's frustration, because it just shows the part of society or the humanity of greed.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it'd be like
and
a pissing races. It'd be like,
Yeah.
look what I can do with my money. Because one of those guys that went down there was the first man to go up in space with Elon, right?
I,
Yeah, he was. He
I
was.
don't know.
I think he was the oldest
Yeah.
man to go in space, and that little piss race just be like, look at all the money that we have, everybody. We're just like you. No, you're
And it
not.
goes to show just how I'm trying to think of a word to use. What?
We haven't even said hi to everybody.
I know. Well, after I finish my thought, we
Okay.
can introduce
Okay.
ourselves.
20 minutes in.
How just the audacity
Mm-hmm.
of that's really the word that I want is the audacity of someone who has a lot of money thinks that they are qualified to do something that someone has either spent their life doing or went to school or have engineering degrees to go up against the ocean. Like how wealth does not make you successful. It doesn't make you It's not something that will just automatically make you into someone who knows everything.
In a video that I saw yesterday, this girl goes, if anything that this shows the people is that even the people with the wealthiest money are not even the smartest.
No,
So
right.
you're right.
Yeah, so it's just shows the ugly side of just humanity with money
Yeah.
and what money can do to someone and make how the decisions that they can make with money in mind. Sad.
So, hey, everybody, my name's Jaron. My pronouns are he, him.
My name's Lars. My pronouns are he, him.
And we are your hosts of Typically Divergent Podcast.
Welcome.
Happy Monday.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Did y'all have a nice, happy, hot Daddy's Day? How was your Daddy's Day?
It was okay. I didn't do anything.
Okay.
I reached out to Dad and said that I love him and Happy Father's Day, but that was it.
Okay.
Not much going on.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
It sucks having a dad that lives an hour and a half away.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I went north to go see my dad and
Sweet.
Terry and my sister, and spent about 2 hours there. And I was pretty tired. And they found out I wasn't going to talk to them about my mental health or anything while I was up there because it's not, But I did mention that, like, I was like, I need a nap. I'm tired. I've been exhausted physically, mentally. And then Monday's episode came out. And again, actually, by the way, anybody that reached out to me and those of you who did reach out to me to check in on me, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm still depressed. It's still just another day, still living. But, like, the first 20 minutes of that was all funny and silly because, like, I can still do that.
Yeah.
But again, deep down in my heart, still sad. But I'm all right. We're getting there one day at a time. Anyways, how you doing? How's your mental health? How was your summer solstice? I was like,
Summer solstice was fine. I mean, again, like, obviously that just went right by me.
it's all right. It was light and the sun was up until like past 9 o'clock last
Yeah,
night.
which is nice.
Beautiful.
Especially when you're doing homework late at night.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel so bad when you're like there until like midnight.
Oh God, that's like real college living.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
I'm good with it.
I'm so fine without it.
Nothing really to report about summer solstice, that's exciting. I'm glad summer's officially here. Work today went really well. It was a little chaotic, like I said, but there was just something in the air. Like the team was all on the same page, and like that
That
vibe that I used to know was there, and it was nice.
Good.
I can't say much on the podcast about
Where
I work,
what
but
you do. I know.
yeah,
It's okay.
but
Lars works for a coffee shop. That's all you guys need to know. That's all we can say.
and I've been there for a while. Been there for 9 years. But that was really, really nice and refreshing.
Like my water.
Yes. Also, my little turds of my dogs found a way to escape out of the fence.
Chasing bunnies.
It was I don't think there was ever a rabbit. There's rabbits in the yard, but I don't think that's what made them get out because we just got a new fence about 6 months ago. Maybe 6 months ago. Who knows? I don't remember. Time is non-existent to me right now.
Right, because we can't stain it till next year.
One of the bottom boards that is right at the bottom by the ground. I don't know how to explain it.
The ground level portion of
the fence. Part of that broke off on one of the planks.
Yeah.
And they have been getting out of that hole. I found it. I fixed it, but that's how they were getting out. Toad got out last night before we went to bed. and he went on the road that's adjacent, this one right here.
Uh-huh.
Almost got hit by a car. Jenny had a fucking panic attack.
Oh, Jen.
And I was out there with my flashlight. He came right to me, but like that, they got out twice in one day last night while I was doing homework.
Is this on the neighbor's side
Yes.
with the new neighbors?
Yeah.
Do you think they're...
I don't think it was them.
Okay.
Because...
Have you found the piece?
Yeah.
Inside your yard?
It was pushed out.
Okay.
So I think the boys may have done something to it. Because the people that are there sometimes have a dog.
Uh-huh.
And that dog used to get aggressive towards the fence because it could hear Cabbage and Toad, and so it would like kind of like hit the fence.
Yeah.
But that dog hasn't been there for weeks.
Okay.
So I don't think it had anything to do with them. I think the boys just kind of were trying to dig, and I think they might have popped it off. But anyway, it was very scary.
Yeah.
Having your babies get out. It's not super busy around this area, but like
Still.
they could still get hit. They could get picked up because they're so fucking cute. Boston's our very high theft dog. Like
there's still a dog that is running around, and there's city traffic.
Yeah. But they were really, really good. They came right back when we called them, so it wasn't like they were like, "I'm free." They're too spoiled though. They wouldn't make it. They'd be like, "Where's my bed?" It gets really dark out. They're like, Where's my bed and my crumpets and my tea?" And
One of them has already gotten out and came back home later in the day, right?
Yeah. Cabbage.
Was Cabbage? Did he used to run down the street when he was a puppy?
He got out that one time and it was raining.
That's right.
And I was in my robe
running outside down the street,
down the street in alleyways, 10:30 at night, yelling Cabbage. People probably were gonna people were probably about ready to call the police. God, that was terrifying.
My naked neighbor is running through the back alley screaming Cabbage in his robe. I think somebody needs to go do a wellness check on him.
Yeah. But that was scary. For us, for Jenny and I, that's like somebody losing their toddler.
Of course.
Like...
Of course.
Yeah.
If oh my God, if Dozer... Oh...
Yeah.
What am I doing? I can't even come up with a word.
Because it's so scary.
I know, and it's just like at the same time, I know him.
Yeah.
He's been in my life for 11 years. When he has ran outside of an area that he was allowed to be in, he didn't get very far because I think he's afraid of like being away from me.
Yeah.
When he was a puppy, like he still doesn't let me out of his sight. You know?
Yeah.
So like if he ran down the street, he'd probably look back and be like, "Oh, you're not, like, I can't see you. I got to go back home." Yeah. But yes, if I had a dog that was silly enough,
they do run away from strangers. Like we've seen that happen where people have been like taking walks, and a couple times they got out and they're like, "Come here, Cabbage," because they're like, "Is that your dog?" We're like, "Yeah, can you just please try to grab him?" And the Cabbage just is like, "Shoot, and he runs away.
Zigzagging.
And I'm like, "Oh," but we
Like
train
soccer.
them like stranger danger. Like you do not go to a stranger.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah, like that's not mama daddy. You don't go there.
That's not my daddy. I'm not
And
going
run
there.
away, and they're fast too.
Oh,
You will not
damn.
catch them. They'll go through your legs. They'll jump over your head.
They'll eat your crumpets and tea if you
Yeah.
get it.
That's what they expect when they get home every night. Like cup and some tea in my little
Oh
bed.
my God, anytime I see Lars and Jenny and their two dogs in the car, the two of them, they are so wild.
They're so happy.
I know, that's amazing. And like I'm like, Dozer is like pushing 70 something pounds. So, and that's one dog.
He would eat them.
Well,
He would eat their nephews.
I feel like he would treat them like Nicholas's cats treat mice. They just play with them
Yeah, maybe.
until they're dead. I don't think it would be I don't think it would be like I'm here to kill. It's just I'm here to play, and I'm going to play really rough.
Yeah. But then our neighbors are really great because this old man got both of them. He said he was like, I was just at home and they were running around and I grabbed them and they came right to me. And I was like, so my story about stranger danger, obviously we need to do some little, we need to review that.
Well, he recognizes the neighbor.
I've never seen this man before.
Oh.
But he brought him to my neighbor's house because we didn't we weren't outside, we were inside. And Cabbage went to Ronwell, my neighbor. So Ronwell had him in the backyard. And then Toad, the doorbell rang, and I thought it was our grocery order. So I said, thank you. And then I look outside, and there's a guy with Toad on a leash. And I was like, holy shit. And so I go out there, and
you didn't even know that he got out?
No.
Oh my God.
That's what's scary about it, because I didn't even know. And so I go over there, and Ronwell has both of them in his backyard. And he was just like, yeah, they were out for about a half hour. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I was doing homework and Jenny was cooking. And we just let him out, like outside.
Dozer. Relax, not Dozer. Cabbage.
Yeah, so.
I'm thinking about your cousin and I'm saying your name.
Shout out to my neighbor. I don't know. I don't remember his name. I think it was John. I think his name was John. But...
You got a John too?
Yeah, but he's cool.
Dear
He was a really nice guy. He looks at me and he goes, I don't know how they got out of that fence. He's like, because they're real healthy.
You're right, John. They are real healthy.
Toad is a little chunky, but Cabbage he's perfect size for a Boston.
I feel like he was the firstborn and Toad was the runt.
Toad was
because he is so small.
He's a lot. His head's small.
Yeah, compared to Cabbage.
He's so sweet though. Little Toadette. Obviously, my dogs are very important to me.
I know they are.
I
would never question that by any means. I just think that it is.
Once I get talking about them, I just kind of I keep rolling. But they're just a big part of my life, and
I know.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Oh, my dogs.
And if you want to see pictures of his dogs, I'll make him post pictures.
I could do a little video of Toad and Cabbage.
Yeah,
and put it on TikTok.
Well, do we have anything else we want to talk about before we get into today's topic?
What's your mental health? Or actually, you asked me, and then I'll ask you, unless you don't want to.
I did ask you.
I'm at an 8.
Okay, good.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. When I had mentioned that, when I had said thank you to the people who had reached out, and I said, still depressed, another day, we're getting through it, still there. But again, I can be funny, so I don't get it. Oh, I know what I'm grieving now.
Okay.
And mourning. A life without that incident of September.
Yeah.
A life without those memories and that event and all of the pain that has surfaced and the traumatic scar that is on my soul. That's when I'm mourning. And it clicked the other day and I was like, that's it. Okay. So, but at least I know what it is.
Does that bring you some relief?
A little bit, because it gets better every day, but still.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Maybe put some giggles in there before we move on.
I'm excited for what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so the reason why... Okay, bleh. I specifically waited until this particular week's episode for this to come out, for us to talk about this, because of the date that this episode is coming out. The day that this is coming out is on the 26th of June. That is the last Monday of the month. And we're going to be talking about Stonewall because that happened at the end of June. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I almost said July. Because that happened at the end of June into the beginning of July. So y'all have this whole week to celebrate and remember what happened 54 years ago. And there's more behind it too. So this is from history.com. The Stonewall riots, this is directly from the site. The Stonewall riots, also called the Stonewall Uprising, began in the early hours of June 28th, 1969, when New York City police raided the Stonewall Inn, which is a gay club located in Greenwich Village in New York City. Okay. The raid sparked a riot amongst bar patrons and neighborhood residents as police roughly hauled employees and patrons out of the bar, leading to 6 days of protest and violent clashes with law enforcement outside of the bar, on Christopher Street, in neighboring streets, and in nearby Christopher Park. The Stonewall riots served as a catalyst for the gay rights movements in the U.S. and around the world. So if there's anything that Americans can truly be proud of,
is the Stonewall riot.
Is the Stonewall riot. And when we say things like, you shouldn't sexualize your predators because men in uniform is such a sexy thing, we get it. But we're talking about the police and the way that they have historically, I'm just saying there are facts historically abusing their power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I give you some back history first?
Yes, please.
Okay. So there were in the 1960s, the proceedings and decades were not welcoming times for the lesbian, gay, and bisexual and transgender Americans, as we know. For instance, solicitation of same-sex relations was illegal in the city of New York City. For such reasons, the so throughout this whole thing, they are not saying LGBTQIA+. So I am going to add all of that in.
Heard.
For such reasons, LGBTQIA plus individuals flocked to gay bars and clubs, places of refuge where they could express themselves openly and socialize without worry. Again, like we've talked about in previous episodes, the Molly House.
Yes.
Okay. So like underground speakeasy type kind of bars. However, the New York Liquor Authority penalized and shut down establishments that served alcohol to known or suspected LGBTQIA plus individuals, arguing that the mere gathering of homosexuals was, quote, disorderly.
Like a disorderly house.
Like a disorderly house. Oh, back to last week's episode, I did look up the word disorderly, and I forgot the definition already, but it's not a patient. It is somebody that works at the hospital. I think they prescribe medications or something.
Oh, got it.
When I was listening to that episode on Monday, because I always listen to our episodes Monday morning and download them, guys, because that's what you can do to help support us. I was listening to it while I was making breakfast, and I was like, all right, Jaron, we're going to look up that word, disorderly. Yeah. Thanks to activists' efforts, and we will name some here soon, these regulations were overturned in 1966, and the LGBTQIA plus patrons could then be served alcohol. But engaging in gay behavior in public, like holding hands, kissing, or dancing with someone of even the same sex, was still illegal. So police harassment of gay bars continued, and many bars still operated without liquor licenses, in part because they were owned by the mafia.
Wait. Gay people couldn't have alcohol?
Well,
I mean,
you give him one margarita and he's gonna spread his legs, Lars. You give him 2 margaritas and he's gonna give you some head. Okay?
So let's go back for a second.
Okay.
You said something about holding hands in public, but before that there was something about alcohol.
Yes, that they could not be served alcohol.
In bars?
Period.
Gay people.
Correct.
What the absolute fuck?
And if you were caught giving them alcohol, if you were caught giving the gays libations, then
anywhere in New York,
you're penalized, shut down.
What the fuck?
Yes. Why is that so funny?
Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I know.
Anyway,
it was the 60s. This is literally.
I know.
These are literally the years that our parents were born. Well, at least my parents.
I know, but that to me just sounds
petty,
so fucking backwards that I can't even.
Well, okay, so like think about this. Think about it like this, okay? If you're looking at bars and liquor establishments, you're looking at it as like a watering hole for what it's going to bring, which means you're going to have more of that same kind of person, or like say like out in the African safari, or like those particular animals. Yeah, you're gonna have them congregate and they're all gonna get to meet each other and they're gonna do what they want. So if you remove the alcohol,
I understand.
Then it's harder for it because they were the location for where they would meet each other, because because you could safely do it in a bar.
That is so funny to me, because they're just like, just don't serve them alcohol and then they won't be gay.
No, don't serve them alcohol and they won't be around each other.
That's what I mean. Like
he said, they won't be gay.
They won't be gay.
They'll still be gay.
That's their like, that's their mindset. That's how they're thinking this through, and it blows my mind. I'm sorry. I did not mean to derail you.
No, it's okay.
That just really caught me off guard.
Okay. So most gay bars and clubs in New York at the time were operated by the mafia. Okay.
Hell yeah.
And who paid, but they paid corruptible police officers to look the other way.
Okay.
And blackmailed wealthy gay patrons by threatening to, quote, out them. Kind of like back at the Molly House.
Okay, yeah. I see. History repeats itself. Okay, mafia.
Can I have you do me a favor?
What?
You're breathing heavily into the mic. It's okay. Yeah. Breathe away.
Sorry. Sorry.
Speak into the mic. Breathe away.
Okay, got it. I'm getting all riled
'Cause
up.
you're like, here's some brief history on the gay rights before Stonewall. Okay, so we're building up to all of this night. Okay. The first documented U.S. gay rights organization, called the Society for Human Rights (SHR), was founded in 1924 by Henry Gerber, a German immigrant. Police raids forced them to disband in 1925, but not before they had published several issues of their newsletter, quote, Friendship and Freedom, the country's first gay interest newsletter. America's first lesbian rights organization, the Daughters of Bilitis, Bilitis, was formed in San Francisco on September 21st of 1955. So that's why that's why LGBTQ plus IA plus, that's why L is the first letter in the whole thing. Pop off, lesbians. In 1966, 3 years before Stonewall, members of the Mattachine Society, an organization dedicated to gay rights, staged a sip-in where they openly declared their sexuality at taverns, daring staff to turn them away and suing establishments who did. Because again, like if you were caught serving somebody who was out of the closet, they could get in a lot of trouble. When the Commission on Human Rights ruled that gay individuals had the right to be served in bars, police raids were temporarily reduced. Okay, temporarily. Okay, so here's some information on the Stonewall Inn itself. Okay. The crime syndicate saw profit in catering to shunned gay clientele, and by the mid-1960s, the Genovese crime family, again a mafia family, controlled most Greenwich Village gay bars. So again, like kind of like corporate pride. Okay, like, oh, you got money. We'll find a way to get your money. Okay, we'll find a way to give you what you want.
Well, I mean, it's the mafia. That's their business.
Right. And even then, like, at least it was a place for these people to still congregate and find each other and be with each other and be themselves.
Correct. At least they were giving them that space.
Correct. In 1966, they purchased the Stonewall Inn, which was a, quote, straight bar and a restaurant, cheaply renovated it, and reopened it the next year as a gay bar. Stonewall Inn was registered as a type of private, quote, bottle bar, which did not require a liquor license because patrons were supposed to bring in their own liquor. So they're serving themselves. So this was like ways that they're getting around this. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Club attendees had to sign their names in a book upon entry to maintain the club's false exclusivity. The Genovese family bribed the New York City's 6th police precinct to ignore the activities occurring within the club. Without police interference, the crime family would cut costs and how they saw fit. So it really was not like a very well put together or even a safe place for people to be. The club lacked a fire exit. Running water behind the bar to wash glasses.
Ooh.
I know. Clean toilets that didn't routinely overflow, and palatable drinks that weren't watered down beyond recognition. What's more, the mafia reportedly blackmailed the club's wealthier patrons who wanted to keep their sexuality a secret. So now we're taking advantage of the community. Right. Hey, like, we'll give this to you, but then also, oh, hey, look, there's Father John over there.
Which is not out of the norm for a mafia.
Right.
At least they're like sticking to their principles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Nonetheless, Stonewall Inn quickly became an important Greenwich Village institution. It was large and relatively cheap to enter. It welcomed drag queens who received a bitter reception at the gay bars and clubs, and it was a nightly home for many runaways and homeless gay youths who panhandled or shoplifted to afford the entry fee. And it was one of the few, if not only, gay bar left that allowed dancing.
Okay.
So again, like they were given a place to do everything that they wanted, buy whatever book that the city wanted, and the mafia is taking money from both ends, and they're taking advantage of people on both ends as well. Raids were still a fact of life, but usually corrupt cops would tip off mafia-run bars before they occurred, allowing owners to stash the alcohol, which again, sold without a liquor license, is going to get you in a lot of trouble, and hide other illegal activities. In fact, the NYPD had stormed Stonewall in just a few days before the riot-inducing raid. When police raided Stonewall Inn on the morning of June 28th, it came as a surprise that the bar wasn't actually tipped off this time. Armed with a warrant, police officers entered the club, roughed up patrons, and finding bootlegged alcohol, arrested 13 people, including employees, people violating the state's gender appropriating clothing statute. So, like we're seeing today in some states where like you can't even a anybody cannot be dressing in the clothing attire that is assigned to their gender. So again, female officers would take suspected cross-dressing patrons to the bathroom to check their sex. So this is like the bathroom ban right now. Like, well, I don't want you in the bathroom with my daughter. You should be in the bathroom with your assigned gender. Oh, okay, but then I don't want you fucking in here. Show me what's in between your pants. So I can tell you where you're supposed to go. So like we're starting to cross some sexually harassing lines. Okay. Fed up with constant police harassment and social discrimination, angry patrons and neighborhood residents hung around outside of the bar rather than disperse, becoming increasingly agitated as the events unfolded and people were aggressively manhandled. At one point, an officer hit a lesbian over the head as he forced her into the police van. She shouted to onlookers to act, inciting the crowd to begin throw pennies, bottles, cobblestones, and other objects at the police. Within minutes, a mind-blown riot involving hundreds of people began. The police, a few prisoners, and a Village Voice writer barricaded themselves inside the bar, which the mob attempted to set on fire after breaching the barricade repeatedly. The fire department and a riot squad were eventually able to douse the flames, rescue those inside Stonewall, and disperse the crowd. But the protests, sometimes involving thousands of people, continued in the area for 5 more days, flaring up at one point after the Village Voice published its account of the riots.
That's incredible. I think that's the part that most people don't remember or don't think about when they think about Stonewall, is that it lasted for a few days. It wasn't just like
It wasn't a one time. It wasn't a one night thing.
It was. No. It lasted for a second.
No. People started taunting the officers, yelling "pigs" and "copper," throwing pennies at them, followed by bottles. Some of the crowd slashed the tires of the police vehicles. I know.
Dang, they were all out.
As the mob grew, NYPD officers retreated into Stonewall, barricading themselves inside.
Oh my goodness.
Two transgender women of color, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera,
Hell yeah,
were said to have resisted arrest, and among those who threw bottles or bricks or stones at the police. Those 2 ladies are very important because not only were they at the Stonewall Inn riots, Marsha P. Johnson was a Black transgender woman and revolutionary LGBTQIA plus rights activist. She later, after all of this, established the Street Transvestite, which is now Transgender Action Revolutionary, also known as STARS, which was a group committed to helping homeless transgender youth in New York City. Sylvia Rivera was a Latin American drag queen who became the most radical gay and transgender activist in the 1960s and the 70s.
Yes.
As co-founder of the Gay Liberations Front, Rivera was also known for participating in the Stonewall riots, establishing the political organization STAR, again, the Street Transgender Action Revolutionaries. After the Stonewall riots, a message was painted on the outside on the boarded up bar reading, "We homosexuals plead without people to please help maintain peaceful and quiet contact of the streets of the village." The sign was written by the Mattachine Society, again an early organization dedicated to fighting for gay rights. Some more history with the issues with police. In the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, LGBTQIA plus people were regularly arrested for violating what became known as the 3-article rule, or the 3-piece law. This rule stipulated that a person was required to wear at least 3 gendered appropriate articles of clothing to avoid arrest for cross-dressing. It was referenced everywhere, including in reports about arrest in Greenwich Village and in the weeks and months leading up to the 1969 Stonewall riots. The problem is the law technically never existed. Instead, accounts suggested that police generally used old, often related laws to target LGBTQIA plus people. In New York, a law commonly used against the community dates back to 1845 and was originally intended to punish rural farmers who had taken to dressing like Native Americans to fight off tax dollars.
Fucking white people.
Oh my God, that is some good... Right,
that
there.
Was some tea, man. Actually, I can't believe that. White people dressing up as Native Americans.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
To avoid paying some fines.
The police of NYPD later did eventually write in a letter of apology, but it wasn't until the 50th year anniversary.
Holy shit.
Quote, "The actions taken by NYPD were wrong, plain and simple." That's all it said. And NYPD Commissioner James Peel O'Neill was the one who had sent the letter. That started the gay rights movement throughout the world.
Yeah, because that was enough.
Mm-hmm.
That was they crossed the line of how they treated those people.
Yep.
And the brick comes in like as a symbol of pride, because there's, you know, that story of a brick being thrown, and that was kind of like, all right, this is a riot now.
Yes.
We're gonna fight back.
Yes.
And I painted Jaron and Nicholas a brick, and I gave it to them.
He did.
Yeah.
And it sits out. It sits out front of our house. There was the Fort Wayne Aid. What is it called? Positive Resource Connections here in Fort Wayne does their AIDS benefit every year, and every year there's like an auction, and they had on the auction, I couldn't afford to buy it, but it was a couple bricks from the first gay bar in Fort Wayne.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to buy those because when you painted those bricks for us, I was like, oh my God, I want to do more bricks, give those to some people that I love. Again, didn't have the money at the time. Hopefully those will be up again this year if there are more bricks to be given.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I do apologize. I don't know. I do not have...
I can always look that up. That's more probably some digging that you'd have to do, because I'm just curious of, like, we have the riot, the bar was obviously closed down for a bit, because I'm just curious as to, like, what, if the mafia, again, like, reopened, or if they walked away because they were, like, worried about that happening again, if they think they were going to lose money, or have to, like,
In June 28th, 29th, the Stonewall reopened. Supporters gathered, police beat and tear gassed the crowds. So they tried to keep it open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So between June 28th and the 29th, the Stonewall did remain open. Despite having been torn apart by the cops, the Stonewall Inn opened themselves before dark the next night. Though it wasn't serving alcohol, more and more patrons, supporters showed up chanting slogans like gay power and we shall overcome. So then June 29th to the 1st of July, Stonewall becomes gathering point for LGBTQIA plus activists. So again, people are continuously migrating. They're hanging around. And then on July the 2nd, Gay Activist Protest newspaper is when it was put in the coverage.
Okay.
Nope. Gay Activist Protest newspaper coverage was then printed. In response to the Village Voice coverage of the riots, which referred to the forces of faggotry. I love that word.
Me too.
Only because we can use it.
Faggotry.
Did you just call yourself a faggot? Yeah, so when straight cis people like you say it, doesn't hurt my feelings.
Right.
Protesters swarmed outside the paper's office. Some called the burning the building down when the police pushed back. Rioting started again, but lasted only a short time, conducted by midnight. The New York Daily News was resorted to homophobic slurs in the detailed coverage, running the headline, "Homo nest raided, queen bees are stinging mad."
You're right, they are.
Yes. Meanwhile, the New York Times wrote only sparingly for the whole event, printing a short article on page 22 on June 30th, titled "Police Again, Riot Village Youths." And then in 1970 was the first Pride Parade set off from Stonewall.
I have so many questions. I'm just gonna deep dive myself, because I have so many questions about, like, did they have another warrant that lasted more than one raid?
Oh, you're trying to get into like specifics.
Yeah, like I want to know. Like,
I do not know.
That's fine, but I'm gonna deep dive myself into that because I want to know that.
So you can go piss all over Precinct 6.
Yeah, because I want to know what authority they had to be there more than one day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what made them just like camp out there, and why were they like literally pulling apart this building when it wasn't theirs? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I think I know why, but like maybe I'm expecting a part of a generation to uphold like legal stature when it wasn't back then. Like, they just were going to do what they were going to do. It didn't matter. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because the cops back then and through other
some
generations
things never change.
Right.
Yeah.
You are to enforce the law, but you are not the law.
You're right. What a concept.
So, and again, like, I am not saying anything bad about any specific person or any specific individual out there. I still think that Black Lives Matter, though.
Yes. Yes.
Not blue lives.
That's the T. That's the motherfucking tea.
Blue lives don't matter. It's a job. It's not a life. Anyway, because Blue Lives Matter is a direct response to Black Lives Matter, which is stemmed from hatred, when Black Lives Matter is stemmed from the fight against oppression.
Yes.
And systemic oppression towards
It takes away
people of color.
It takes away the vidility.
It completely discredits it. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you for all that information about Stonewall.
You're welcome. I last minute decided that we were going to want to read some Pride stories for you guys, and when I decided, like, I was like, I think we should do this. By then, it was too late to go back into the episode, edit it to say, hey, we're doing stories. I mean, we're talking like this was 2 days ago that I came up with this. Next year, we'll do better because I would love to hear some Pride stories. However, we did get one.
Great.
We did get one. So thank you to this anonymous individual. I really appreciate it. She has asked that to remain anonymous, which is totally okay. Okay, so titled podcast story. Hey, lovelies.
Aww.
So I'll share the absolute horror of a coming out I had. Picture this. I was 13 and MySpace was all the rage. My mom was a single mom and I was an asshole, so I had to come up with some creative punishments on occasions. Well, one summer day, I did something 13-year-old me would do. Can't remember for the life of me. Sure, it was probably along the lines of mouthing off. And my punishment was I had to stay at the night at my uncle's house. Probably the only male figure in my life that I was even afraid of. He was strict, but I was so thankful for him. Usually he made me watch boring shows with him and wasn't allowed to hang out with my cousins. The next morning I woke up thinking everything was fine and dandy. Ha! My mom was out in the living room talking with my uncle. I was made to log onto my MySpace account, which was reflecting on the TV screen in front of my mom and uncle and my cousins. The last of my punishment consisted of having to open and read all of my private messages out loud while they read along. And that is when they found messages with the first girl I had ever liked and discovered I was bisexual. I proceeded to be lectured for a good hour or so after that, saying I was too young and confused and didn't know what I was talking about. When I went home, my mom called my grandma and her friends through the day to talk about how humiliating it was for her. And that's how my family found out that I was gay.
That's awful.
That is awful.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yes, anonymous messenger.
Man.
That is awfully terrible.
That is very terrible.
Not to discredit her, but I have a very similar I had a very similar situation.
It was taken from you. Like coming out.
Being forced out, yes.
Yeah.
But all of the times leading up to it, the time that I told somebody that I was friends with in confidence that I was gay, and then he and his mom showed up at my parents' house, to have this 2-hour discussion with him and his parent and his mom about what it meant to be gay and all of these things and accusations that he was making that weren't true. Like, he was like, now that I know this about Jaron, but when like he talks to me and we're in the gym locker room and he's talking to me, it makes me really uncomfortable because he's looking at me. And I was like, because I'm talking to you. Like, I am in no way attracted to you.
Yeah.
Okay? We're 5th grade. 5th grade. And then my dad took me into another room and we had this like several hour discussion and whatever. I denied it. Because again, I was afraid, right? Mm-hmm. So, because at this time we were at private school. And then in the 7th grade, I had been, I think this was before I found out about porn, but I shouldn't have been doing this, but I was on like gaydating.com trying to like get dick pics from guys, pretending to be an adult. Okay. Luckily for those men, nobody had ever even sent me anything, because if it had been found out that I was a minor, like I would have been in trouble. Yeah. Right. So, I had, this is so embarrassing. I had heard the term hung like a mammoth on like a sci-fi show recently. And so I was like messaging guys and I was like, I like when they're hung, and I didn't know how to spell the word mammoth, but I could spell the word elephant. And so I said elephant, and I left the tabs open on my mom's computer. So we were at my dad's going to drop off like our suitcases and stuff, because we would we didn't have clothes at both houses. It was just easier to have everything at one place and then just pack a suitcase for his visitation. So I was like, hey, Dad, like, I don't even know why I would even ask him if it's okay, because he was driving us and I could have just went and did it. But anyway, I was like, hey, is it okay if I just like check my email really quick? And he was like, I think it's time for that. I just get you to school. And I was like, yeah, I just want to check my email really quick. And he was like, no, like, forget about your email. You can do it when you get home from school. So had I gotten onto the computer, I would have been able to close that out. I would have seen it and closed it out.
Right.
But I didn't. And later that day, our mom, she's home when we get home from school. But as soon as I get home, she's like, I'm going to go see your grandma. I'm going to go talk to your grandma for a little bit. And I was like, oh, like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm just meeting her for like coffee. And I was like, oh, like, can I go? Like, that sounds like fun. I want to see a grandma. And she was like, no, you have to stay here with your sister. She had printed out those messages and went and talked to her mom to figure out what to do, because she was so upset and scared that my dad would find out. And because she was worried that my dad was going to be mad at her because she was so soft and gentle with me. Like, as if the way that she raised me was going to make me gay.
Oh my God. Right.
And instead of talking to me about this, she goes and talks to her mom about this. I get caught. I deny it. Mm-hmm. I get caught looking at gay porn. I deny it. Mm-hmm. And then later in the 8th grade, on September 20th of whatever that year was, it was her second husband's 40th birthday is when I was outed. So, like, I mean, you
Jesus.
And then she, what is it? What do these letters mean, Jaron? Do you love him? Yes, Mom. I'm gay. And then she stormed out of the house and left, and then didn't speak to me for the rest of the evening because she was so worried about how it's going to come onto her.
God.
So that's my trio of coming out stories. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
I came out as queer to my mother on Mother's Day. I'm not even making this up.
You and me and Mother's Day, they just don't get along.
Yeah. I don't really have a coming out story because
what did you were like
my parents,
queer?
My mother always had an inclination.
Uh-huh.
My dad understood that I felt different.
Uh-huh.
But never made me feel any certain way about it.
Okay.
Except for one time, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't really have like a coming out story where I sit my parents down and I'm like, I'm gay or I'm queer.
Yeah.
It was something always traumatic that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're either,
I like that you're traumatized me, like me.
Yeah.
And baby, that makes you cool.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, like that's whoever, like if you have a story where you sit down with your parents and it goes well, I'm so happy for you.
Oh my God. I'm
so
happy.
But I don't know what that's like. I have no idea what that's like.
I'm going to be really honest. Part of me gets a little jealous that I didn't get to have that.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm like, God, why couldn't I have had that? Or why do you get to have that and I don't? But you know what? We all share a lot of common interests and some sort of coming out trauma connects a lot of us together. The whole purpose of continuously saying gay, protecting trans youth, looking out for the younger future generations is so that one day somebody can just come home and say, this is my boyfriend, my girlfriend, this is my partner.
And it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just like as if in a cis straight household, one of the kids comes home and says, this is my opposite gender person that I'm seeing.
I told my mom that Jenny and I were together.
Okay.
And that was like how I was saying, like, I am who I am and this is it. And my mom, she was right about one thing though, because she would always say, I think you're bi, I think you're bi, I think you're bi, which I am. I identify as bisexual now.
Okay.
But I'm going to give her, that's all I give her. That's the only thing I give her when it comes to my sexuality or my queer journey. But yeah, so
happy Pride Month,
happy
everybody.
Pride, y'all.
Thank you to the anonymous listener that sent in her story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
In the future, next year, we will be doing this again.
Hell yes.
We want some stories. I want funny shit. If you got a horror story and you want it said,
want a trauma dump on us?
Yeah,
please.
Hey, trauma dump.
Dump that booty.
Ooh, dump truck. Drop them peaches. Drop them peaches from the farm. All right, so there may be a weird jump cut there because my MacBook decided it didn't want to record anymore.
It wanted to sleep.
It wanted to go to sleep. So we were talking about dropping peaches on the farm, and and then I just heard that's good thing I had this microphone on. So not microphone. Good thing I had these headphones on.
Your headphones
so I could
on.
have heard
Yep.
that. So yeah, everybody, funny stories. I mean, hookup stories. Tell us. Grinder stories. Oh my God. I am so happy to be in a monogamous, closed relationship because I mean, not that like being single means that you have to be on those apps, but like that's
the drama.
That is where the drama is. And also like people in different areas of the world. I'm like, your interaction with people that you're talking to is so different than the interactions I've had. That what you're talking about, that is funny. And like what happens here in little tiny mid-sized city, Fort Wayne, I'm like, this is boring. Fuck. Yeah. Except one time there was one guy and because I first got Grindr when it was like version 1.1. Okay. So like, I'm
going to act like I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, again,
I know what Grindr is.
Right. It is the start of online app dating with geolocation to let you know where people are and how close they are. With pictures and scrolling, and Scruff gave people the left and right swiping ability. Anyway, more gay history.
Right.
At some point during the whatever years that I had been like, we always download it, delete it. It's common for gays to download it, delete it, download it, delete it. And that was what I'd always been doing. And there was one guy on there whose profile picture was the same for like 6 years straight. And I finally called him out and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, your profile picture has not changed in like this many years. And I was like, I'm starting to begin that you don't even look like that at all. Yeah. Like, that's not possible for you to still look like this. And he was, oh, I never even thought about it. Thanks for letting me know. And I was like, you're welcome.
Is he old?
No, I don't know.
That's like an old person thing.
I was in my early mid 20s, and I mean, he definitely was like 5-10 plus years older. But either way, yeah, that was the only time I ever had one of those LOL, this is funny situations.
Yeah.
Just because Pride Month is over doesn't mean you still have to have it. You still can't have it in your heart.
Yeah.
Allyship and
accomplices, not allies. We need accomplices.
Yep. Either of those two intensities of allyship, whether it is whatever it is for you, we need that year round, and it needs to continue. And not only for queer people, but all marginalized communities that are oppressed and and have a history of being oppressed.
Yes.
History of being oppressed, not this new age middle white man. I'm oppressed because I can't sexually harass my wife that I've been married to for several years. Right. That is not oppression. Right. That is, if anything, that is protection on women.
Also, and if you're a Christian, you are not oppressed. Because I've heard that recently. And you cut that shit out.
Again, you're free. You've been free to do whatever you want for a really long time.
Long ass fucking time.
And I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it doesn't get pushed in my face. Luckily, the people that are in my life that are like church going, I think at this point they know, like, don't bring it up. And like, that's fine. If I'm going to ask how it is, that's fine. But they don't bring it up. And not that, anyway, whatever. That makes me sound like I'm being a child.
No, it doesn't.
You're right. It doesn't. Because then it's like, well, you don't go around being like, I'm gay, but you do talk about your relationship with these people. But also at the same time, like, just because you're in a relationship, they're not coming at you trying to get you to like read the Bible or go to church or anything. Like, right. They know. They're like, they don't, nobody asks me to go anymore. I'm like, good. Yeah. Good. I'm sure there are good churches out there, just not for me. Yeah. So say gay, drink your water,
protect trans kids,
at all cost. Smash the system. System. Stay queer as fuck. You are beautiful. Stay radical. Now I'm just reading stickers on my. Tell me that you're gay without telling me you're gay.
Stay queer.
Stickers on my water bottle. So happy Pride Month, you guys.
Happy Pride.
We hope you enjoyed the 4-part series of Pride Month. And obviously, like, you'll see us next Monday. But I hope you guys enjoyed. And let us know what you think. Honest to God, please support us.
We love you.
If you want to support us, hit us up, email us, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
We don't do Twitter.
We don't do Twitter. Twitter gets me in trouble.
Well, we don't like the Musk.
Speak for yourself. I like musky things.
The Elon.
Oh, well, we don't like Elon now.
We don't like the Elon.
Anyway,
Weird.
What else do we have to say? We love you guys.
Toe tap.
Toe tap. We love you. We'll see you next Monday. Tell me you love them.
I told him like 3 times I love you so fucking much. So fucking much. I heart.
Don't make me get my kissels out. All right, guys. We're out.
Until next time. Bye.